Okay, guys, hi. I actually was recording a whole video going off talking, but I kind of like had recorded a video like last week, but it just doesn't align with what I'm feeling right now. I was recording that because I was on my period and I was in my feelings. And I was actually just saying now that feelings don't necessarily mean negative feelings or sad or feelings that are not necessarily positive or upbeat. Like being excited and feeling like you're in a good place is also, like, those are also still valid feelings. So yeah, I'm gonna be like kind of like doing an update of the past 6 months and not necessarily like nitpicking, oh, January what happened or whatever, but just like kind of reflecting on the year so far. I am going to be looking at my laptop because I have a post that has to go live at 12. I do run a podcast, social media post page. So I set an alarm. Actually, while I was recording that video, my alarm went off because I already put this on draft. So I'm just waiting for 1 o'clock so I can just say post. Yeah. So before I start, I was looking at my old videos and I kind of like was feeling very cringe about it. I don't know why. But I feel like a lot of some things where, especially when feeling cringed and embarrassed is concerned, it's just, I don't know what the shame is from because I'm sensing shame. I don't know why. Anyway, I don't even know why I spoke about shame. Okay. So I wanted to start off. I was saying I was reflecting. I was actually watching my older videos and I was sensing, like I was just looking at like the person I was and a bit like critiquing, like, oh, why does it feel like you're talking about this all the time? I'm always like trying to make sense of where I am, like right now, like what I'm doing. Except I'm really in a good mood now and I'm really in a good place. So it's more different from, like, it's very different from my other videos. Because right now I feel like I'm in a place that's very content. Somebody asked me like how I'm doing and I was like, I feel very calm. I feel like I'm in a place of surrender. And it's a very good place for me. You know, I really never felt like this before. I remember there was a time, I think 2016, 2017, where I first experienced sadness, like unexplainable sadness. I couldn't say what was happening in my life that had triggered the sadness. It just felt like something that was manufactured from the inside and I couldn't get rid of it, you know? And yeah, obviously now when I look back, I realize that maybe I probably had unhealthy relationship with my thoughts, with what I entertained, with what I engaged. Yeah, but there was just like this, it's just all consuming sadness. And I couldn't, from then until, I want to say even till 2020, 22, is when I felt like, oh my God, 2022 is when I felt like, okay, I'm probably I'm getting control of the mind, like over the years of learning, like actually like going from exercising, doing yoga, doing meditation, falling on and off. Then when I actually started journaling, was that 2022 or 2021? That's when like I started making sense to myself. So right now it's 2025 and that sadness that I used to feel at my core is turned into like absolute joy and contentment in myself and in everything that I am. It's so interesting, like how I used to feel that feeling. And now even if something remotely close to that even comes to me, like mentally or like in my vicinity, I'm able to know how to like think those thoughts, to breathe those thoughts away or to regulate myself. So I think that's also something I had struggled with. And I used to identify as someone who felt like they were like a depressed individual or anxiously, what is the word? Like I was very anxious. I was just like identify like I'm very depressed. So now I don't have that. I don't have the feelings of feeling like I'm depressed. I do not have feelings of anxiety. Like I know how to regulate myself. I know how to talk myself through it. Love that for myself. Guys, give me a minute. Let me see if this is live. Is everything in order? So yeah, man, like even the confidence, like I don't think I always presented as someone who's very confident, but I don't think at my core I was. And I feel like now that is something that I feel like is coming in its natural oh my God, like it's just like very exciting time and place to be in. And yeah, so I was talking about documenting my feelings and being here. So I was kind of like judging myself. But then I read something from Joan Didion where she's like, why do we take notes? If you don't know, for context, I am somebody who journals a lot, but I also am somebody who documents my process. Like sometimes I'm trying to make sense of myself or things around me, or maybe my journey as an artist. So she's like, it is a good idea to keep in touch, to see who I was, to freeze time, to record a feeling. Words that remind you there was a you before, there was a before and there was an after. And then I love this quote, which I'm going to get tatted on my body. She's like, remember what it was to be me, and that is the point. Like, if there's ever a name for a channel for me, or something that they're like, oh, can you explain who Punza is? She's always in the constant pursuit of herself. And if that's something I die doing, I would be so content. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping then in the afterlife, I'm kind of having a cruising, you know? So yeah. So I'm doing this because I do want to document, and I really love looking back at younger Bonza. Like when I look at Bonza, I mean, there was a time I wrote a poem and I had said my addiction to pain, and it was an actual addiction to pain. When you start like out of nowhere, start feeling sad, and then you kind of rely on that sadness because you think that's your reality. But I am so grateful for myself from 2020 to now for actually being relentless and just continuously doing work. What has been also exciting is that like I've reconnected with an old friend of mine, and I am intentionally cultivating my community, engaging, touching base, even if I don't see all of them all the time, but to make time for my community. My community is something that is extremely important to me, be it my community being my family and my friends, right? And also I do want to also cultivate a community in the creative space. So in the winter, I don't necessarily like going out, but like it's getting warmer, I can sense man gore ke ready for summer luna. So I am gonna start going out. I used to enjoy going to Black Labone last year, but I also want to like find spaces in Johannesburg that I can attend and be a part of, just to also like, you know, be familiar in the space that I wish to have a long-term work life with, if that even makes sense. That's that, right? What else did I want to update you guys on? I cut my hair. Usually back in the day when I used to cut my hair, it was because like I was like crashing out. First time I cut my hair, and like when I was in the shower washing, I felt like a little bit teary because I was like reflecting on all the things that happened even last year. Like the main one being my grand passing, you know? Maybe it made sense why there was that culture of, I don't know who exactly but yeah, it felt very cathartic. Like there's just like a new beginning of like washing away all the things that had happened in the past year. Not necessarily to me, and not that they were bad, but it felt good like too. And obviously if you know me, I have no problem starting over. Like it's not an issue. And not that I'm saying I take people for granted, but it's just like I kind of have an open door policy of like allowing people in, and if they want to be released, they can go as long as they never come back. But you know, so starting over even for myself outside of relationships with any like humans, it's so I mean hair for me is like, but I do want to get locks. I don't know. I think I'll look scrumdiddly. Okay, so that's covered. How is the music going? How is that all going? Oh, firstly, I just want to wrap up the whole thing about my mind and everything. It's like this year, when the year started, I was very intentional about wanting to be in a great headspace. I'll actually insert a clip of what I said about where I am at my core with joy and everything, because I recorded something before this. Is I'm able to cultivate the joy from within, no matter what's happening around me, no matter if I have gigs or not. Like, actually, that's something also I was saying I want to work on. I want to work on just being able to be in a state of gratitude. I made notes on it. Let me holds one. Be able to cultivate the feeling of love, of freedom, of abundance, of trust, safety, joy, connection. I wrote connection and connectivity. Okay. What about my heart to be seen, and security? So those are the feelings I want to be able to cultivate without necessarily feeling like I need to outsource. I'm doing this thing now where I am not going to be shopping and buying clothes. Let me see, September. Let me see, August. I'm not buying clothes. August, September, October, November. December, usually I do get the urge to shop. I'm doing these practices by using what I already have, like not to always constantly feel like I'm chasing a high, like I need to get this new item. I want to like practice a slow living. Even with some of the items that I have, I'm going to get rid of the ones that don't like necessarily like align with my style or who I am or my lifestyle. I want to be able to cultivate love. It doesn't have to be like, oh, if people in my community don't show up, then I don't have love. I need to just always be able to know. And yeah, just to have a knowing that it is there. Whether or not today I'm getting a gift or I'm showered with love or whatever, it's just, there. And abundance. Abundance is just like to not feel like you have to rush anything. To just believe that at your core. So everything does start with self, guys. If you didn't listen to this video, one thing I can definitely highlight is that everything does start with self. I want to get to a place where I'm vulnerable also with people I love, because I do have that thing where I'm like very hyper independent. But anyway, I digress. I want to go back to self. So feelings of insecurity, feelings of feeling like you're not loved, feelings of fear. Fear is anxiety as well. That is a feeling that is separate from you. So when you then cultivate a practice, a routine where you can always come back to self, you're able to... Because I don't stop being anxious. Like, for instance, if I'm anxious and I go on social media and still like consume people's lives or like, and not have a practice, I don't know, be it prayer, be it meditation or whatever. But I feel like if we slow down in that, whatever, that anxiety or in that uncertainty, if we can slow down, even if you just take 5 breaths, it's in that being present thing that makes you realize that it's always there. It's already been there. And everything that is here is sufficient for me. And it doesn't mean in any way, Hore, you're not allowed to desire more. That's not what feeling fulfilled and like content means. Like some people think, oh no, that means it must be like one extreme, like you're saying, okay, I'm going to be a hobo. No, it's just knowing and being abundant. Because I feel like when you operate from a place of working on an EP, I have some features coming out this year. I have a music video coming out this year. I really want to reshoot my Grumpy Endings cover. Sometimes I feel like, oh, you should be doing more. And sometimes I feel like I want to take it slow. Or like sometimes it just feels like the way things are set up, they're just moving at the pace that like I can try and say, hey dude, let's hurry up, let's do this. And then you find that maybe I have a producer who's like, oh, right now I can't do this, or I'm busy and I'm occupied. So I'm like trying to be like in a place where I'm trusting and just surrendering to what is happening, and not in a complacent like way, like, oh, I'm just going to relax, but when it happens, it will happen. But I don't want to stress myself and overly anxious because, oh my God, why isn't this happening? So yeah, that's what's happening. Guys, actually, I've started, remember I told you guys that I want to have a better relationship with food and whatevs. Okay, I just want to tell you what books I'm reading. Okay, so I read this book in July. I only managed to read one book. I don't know what I read in June. I don't think I read in June. I must just track back and check. I don't think I read a book in June, because I think maybe I started this one in June and it's just been dragging it, but I'm done. It's actually a beautiful book. I just didn't give myself the time to sit. It's something that like is a page turner. You can read it in a week. But I went back and I became very chronically online again. So that is why this book wasn't done in time. But I really, really enjoyed it. I learned so much about Nigeria. It's a coming-of-age story. Yeah, Adonai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. And her story of a girl being the girl with a louding voice, what she went through in Nigeria, coming from a village, moving to Lagos, and then basically her life starting there. And basically a miraculous change happening in her life. It was a very nice book, and I was having a conversation with my friend about wanting to have and read more African authors, and Nigerian authors are doing it. But this one is not a black author. This is normal people. I buy my books on Yaga, secondhand books. This one is my sister-in-law's book, so I'm done with this one. This one I got on Yaga. I actually got it for $50. The condition's not bad. I'm gonna start it this coming week. I've seen people rave a lot about Sally Rooney. Is it Sally Rooney? So I was like, I want to get into it. Then I did like a deep dive on TikTok of which book they recommended, and they said this one. So I'm excited to start. I'm hoping that in August I can read like more than just one book, maybe 2 books. Let's cross fingers for that. So I'm also starting the Artist Way again. I did the Artist Way last year. I did realize that someone even said that in order to have a new thing, like for instance, if you introduced a new habit, you need to like continuously revisit it, because you can't do something for 21 days, or for instance with this one, I think it's like 8 weeks of the course, and think it's going to be like forever ingrained in you. I feel like I have to be in a continuous state of consuming the Artist Way, doing it, and I don't have to necessarily always do it. Like this year, obviously now I'm going to do it again, the course from week 1 until the last week, but like to always revisit it. And like there's a lot of things that for me I felt like I did last year that really helped me, and then over time, independently from the book, I just kiluzite that thing for like what I learned and the teachings from the book. So I'm definitely going to be doing the Artist Way. This one obviously is just like a week by week kind of situation, so it's not like a one. But anyway, I'll just be updating you guys every week about like thoughts and everything, basically something like this. Okay guys, thank you so much for being here and seeing what is the second episode of Muse and Her Feelings. So yeah guys, bye.